tools for decorating cakes. What do you call those?
Tips.
A variety of tips to go with
This is a leaf tip. It's a number 70. A rose tip, a number 104. This is a jagged edge, which leaves like a little scroll, a number 15. And then I have the number 16 for a little bit larger in case I want to write with either of those, depending how much room I have. And then I have a number 4, just a round tip, in case I really don't have room and I want to write with it, and it does a lot of other things. And then the larger tip, which I'm using a number 7, or you could use an 8 for my piping. And then I already have a number 32 shell tip on the bag, and it's already folded over. And you put your hand underneath here, cup it over, and you scrape frosting. Then you can grab it with your hand and scrape it off like this. You can scrape it off of the spatula, and then you squeeze it out to get the air, twist it, and just leave it here on the side. That's what we're going to do with it later. And this is a little cleaner brush that I use for my tips. I'll just put over here for the...
And this is a Halloween cake.
Yes, this is the construction of a Halloween cake. I have an extra large board that I had cut at the wood store. Covered it with foil and I taped the bottom. Notice you will get color on your fingers. That's signs of a great artistic cake decorator. I frosted it with white bakery frosting, and then I went over and I just did dabs of green frosting and I swished it, and then I went over with some brown frost color. Then I went over it with some brown color and I blended it to where it looks messy. In the sky I did a very dark blue. I wanted drama, like it's a very ominous looking evening. Then I put a big yellow round circle because it's going to represent a moon. I'm going to put a witch flying on her broom this way. I'm going to put a haunted tree in somewhere. It'll all come together, you'll see. What I've done so far is basically etched out a picture of the witch on the broom. And I did this first with a rose nail tip. I drew the broom out how I want it to be. I basically did her figure. You pipe down, up, and down. I did her face. Very important you get the nose sticking out there and the chin. And I made the hat in the shape that I kind of wanted. So now what I'll do is I'm going to smooth out my other drawings that I did just a little bit, clean it up, and I filled the black paper parchment bag with black icing, and you can't get it real black in the beginning. It has to ripen. So by tonight it will be good and black. So we have the broom that I came down on, the body up and down. I do the face, and now the hat needs a little bit more style to it. And I'll fill it in, and we're going to start doing her hair. It's got to be kind of ratty looking. And it's got to fly off into the moon. Alright, her big old butt out here. Fill it in a little bit more, because we're going to put, and the nice thing about piping is you can always fill it in. This is her legs, essentially, but we're going to make it look like it's a dress that's flowing in the wind. I'm going to fill in the body just a little bit more, and we want her to look kind of haggard anyway, and fill the hair out a little bit more. Now I'm going to do her cape, and it doesn't really matter how it looks because it's a cape and it's flying in the wind. And then we'll smooth it out later with the tip like what I'm doing. It's so easy. It looks hard, but it's not. Alright, now we're going to bring her hands down into the broom like she's holding it, and I think I'll go ahead and put her shoes sticking out with her toes sticking out. Maybe the other one up here. And then I'll smooth it out a little bit after. And don't worry if you get a little bit of yellow on there from the tip I already had, because it kind of gives her a little bit more personality and illuminates. I'll smooth her face out just a bit. Body, not much, because we want her to look like she's sailing and blowing in the wind. It's going to come out real cute. This is just a silhouette. Strictly a silhouette. I like to use paper parchment for these kind of cakes because you throw them away. I'll show you how to fold it. You take one end like this and you make a point. You bring the other end around and you jiggle it up until you have a nice fine point. Then you hold it on the outside and let the inside just kind of fill out that vacant space. And you're gonna hold it, and that's what you're gonna fill up with your frosting just till about 2/3 full. Then we'll snip off a little bit on the bottom here to make for a larger opening so we can pipe with it. This one I filled with brown frosting. Notice I folded it in. I'm going over the top of it so that it protects my hands from the frosting. I squeeze it down and I'm going to snip off just a little bit of the edge for piping. Make sure it's good and snug. And I'm going to pipe the haunted tree on here now. Start up with long strokes. We come out with the branches. And there is no certain way for all this because it's supposed to look like a spooktacular. I'll fill this in now because we want our tree to look good. But I was just doing the outline. And then we come down, I dig it in a little bit. So you can see the root. I already had all my frosting colors mixed, just more proficient. Alright, and I'll fill this in a little bit. Now watch what I do with the tree. And it's important that you can dig it in when you're piping. That's the beauty of piping. You fill in the hole. This is probably one of my most favorite. I'm making some longer limbs up here and thicker. I am going to put some leaves on it. So you can go back over them. Again, the beauty of piping. And it's almost become a lost art. Thanks to your Aunt Barbie, you will be able to carry on the tradition. Thanks to your grandma, you will be able to carry on the tradition of the family. Your mother did not do it. Alright, I'm going to make the eyes. Watch this. They're going to be long and oval, and I'm going to build them up. It's going to be kind of spooky scared. I'm going to put some eyebrows on him like, ah! See, we arch them. And I'm going to dramatize them with black later. And then his nose, you build up and you build out a hook. See it coming to shape? Watch the mouth. It's going to be bigger, oval. Again, we go around it 3 times. It's a 3D spooky Halloween cake in the beginning stages. I'll highlight it with a bit of black, some white in the eyes with my tip. I'm going to put white in the eyes with my number 7 round tip so that it will bring them out more. Put just a little bit in the mouth. I want it to show. Then we'll put the eyeballs over here because he sees the witch. Ah! And we'll put, maybe I'll put black in there. So it's like his mouth. We'll get the black. We'll go over his eyebrows and give him some definition. And I'll go through the trees with a little bit of black to give it some definition. So you drag it and wherever you think that you might want it. But don't worry about that if it doesn't look perfect because this is like a progressive. We are going to put leaves on it like it's fall and they're falling off. So that's why the variegated colors are so perfect. I'm going to put a border around the cake now with the number 32 shell tip. See, just screw them on. I squiggle it, come down. It's all in the pressure of the bag. Practice makes perfect. Fill your bag. So what we do, hold it back and put more frosting in. Squeeze the air out. Well, you can even squeeze the air out in a color if you need more of it. Continue on. And I do it closer inside because I don't want it to fall off. It's a frame for the cake. Now, I will come and do the side. Just a nice little one because I'm squeezed for space. If you have an air bubble occur, just scrape it off. Wipe your tip off. Back over it. See, you can cover up your messes. Never freak out. Turn the cake around straight on the cake itself. It takes quite a bit to put these borders on because they're elaborate on a cake this size. This is about a 3.5 to 4 foot cake board. I had to make 2 full sheets put end to end. Gaining in weight. Scrape the side, put it on another side. I want those variegated colors. And I'll just mix in this green real dark because I want to get those colors. I've got some brown in there, I've got some yellow. And I'm going to squeeze it back into the green until my colors start coming out, see? Now I will put the leaf tip on, and I'm using a big one, a number 70. This is where it gets fun and you can start covering up some of your messes. See where the joints are? Just put the leaves in like they're blowing. They're blowing off the tree. Still got a few leaves left. He's losing them, have them falling down. How often do we see this happen? I want a few leaves around. There he is. And we can have them look like they're blowing. If you use 2 hands or a finger to point in the direction, it kind of stabilizes your hand if you're not real certain. But the tree is a very beautiful addition to a Halloween cake. It has so much personality. And then inside of these, if we want to, with orange pumpkin, this is definitely a tree that's losing its colored leaves. And he's definitely spooked because he sees the witch coming. I'm going to use the number 15 for writing. And you want to practice on your writing on a flat piece of board, scrape the frosting back up, put it back, because it's not the same as writing on a cake as it is writing with a pen or a pencil. So here we go. I'm going to put Happy Halloween. So you can come back with some little scrolls on it to embellish it longer if you want to. Happy. And I'll go back over the Y with some scroll. Happy Halloween. Card. So I made some pumpkins. You do like a heart shape. You pipe it in a circle. You meet at the bottom. You go over it a little less big on the top. And then you come over the top. Pumpkins are never perfect, so don't worry about it. Then we're going to go over the top of this with just a little stem. Usually use a 4 or 5. But we just go up on the top and make it kind of crooked. And we have a stem for all of our pumpkins. And if you want to, you can make a face on some of them. Pure white or pure black. Tricks of the trade. I put the tip on top of the filled paper parchment bag. So I can make a face instead of making another. And I'll just put some eyes on here, like maybe jagged. And I'll put a jagged mouth, or however you want to do it. Just do it. It doesn't matter if they all have a face or not, because not all pumpkins are magical. That's all it requires, just a few in every one. If I wanted to, I could put a skeleton out here. I'd pipe a skeleton. That will have to be another lesson. I'm going to show you the finished product before I put some leaves around the bottom. And there's the cake we're going to devour tonight and probably send a lot home with people. That's our little Halloween cake. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Ta-da. It's heavy. Dang, it's heavy.